Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel, Nelly the Narcissist. So last week I made a video about the 5 early red flags to watch out for with a narcissist. And apart from one of those, where I focus upon your intuition and your intuitive knowing, where I basically said, if your gut feeling is telling you that something is off with someone, then it most certainly will be off. But the other red flags that I bring up are focused on the behavior of the narcissist. If you haven't seen that video, then I encourage you to go check it out. But this week I wanted to focus purely on you, and I want to offer 5 tips or suggestions to follow in your future relationships with people that enter your life, whatever the capacity, whether it's a lover, a friend, a colleague, or an associate of some kind. It's for basically people in general. And I've named the title of this video, How to Be Love Bomb Proof, because actually I had a viewer, and I hope that she's watching now. She asked me specifically to talk about how to avoid getting drawn into more relationships with narcissists, especially when narcissists seem to be a pattern in your life. As I spoke about in my 5 red flags video, as humans, we all repeat patterns, and particularly in relationships. And many times people do meet or have relationships with more than one narcissist in their lifetime. There are always lessons to learn in these experiences that we get in life. And having had 3 narcissistic relationships myself, I do know a thing or two about the healing journey that's involved in the recovery process, which is a complete self-recovery after narcissistic abuse. We need to recover ourselves. In this video today, I will offer these 5 suggestions that will help you hopefully to prevent the pattern of narcissistic relationships, whether you've had 1, 2, or even more already. And hopefully these will make it difficult for narcissists to gain access to you. And just before I get into the video, if you're new here, then thank you so much for stopping by. On this channel, I support survivors of narcissistic abuse by making these podcasts that delve into both the psychology and also the spiritual aspects of narcissistic personality disorder. And I totally believe that the spiritual element needs to be added to get a full and complete understanding. So if you appreciate that lens, then please do consider subscribing. So let's get into these suggestions that I want to offer today of how you can remain love bomb proof and prevent narcissistic abuse and narcissists from getting access to you. Number 1, my first suggestion is for any relationship, but especially for romantic scenarios, especially when you've been through narcissistic abuse already, and if you know that you're prone to getting carried away by attraction and getting overrun by those chemicals that go off when we lose all of our sense, it's so important for you to not rush into intimate encounters. It's so essential to get to know somebody, because at the start, people put their best foot forward. It doesn't matter if they're toxic or not. Everyone does it. And we know that narcissists all seem so amazing at first with their glittery mask. So if you know that you get caught up easily in attraction, then we do need to tame our wild horses, because if you don't, you could easily fall prey to another narcissist. Narcissists will use their sexuality to trap people. And once you know the temptation and you know what happens when you fall for the temptation, you realize the high that you have in the beginning, where the relationship eventually ends up, it's really not worth it. Sex can no longer be the be-all and end-all. And I do think in romantic relationships with narcissists, this is a major lesson. I know for myself that narcissistic abuse has changed the way that I get attracted to people. I care much more now about who someone really is, not how good looking they appear or how great their body is. If you know this is a weakness of yours, you have to be so careful with it. But even outside of romantic relationships, narcissists, if they've got their eye on you for supply, they'll want to get close to you quickly. And I've found and I've seen, like a predator stalking its prey, when it moves in fast. And anything coming towards you too fast in the beginning, if you've been in narcissistic relationships and it seems like, it's a pattern for you, then this should be a big red flag. Yes, there are also passionate people that just move fast, and I'm somebody like that, but this has made me a lot more susceptible, you see, to narcissistic love bombs. But we need to be sure that someone isn't a narcissist or an archepath, and we really need to understand who they are before we make an informed decision to let them in or not. And remember, as an empath, there will be a lot of people that will want to gain access to you and your energy. But you're the one, ultimately, that gets to choose who you let in. But the point here in any new situation with a person or a relationship is we mustn't rush. Getting to know people takes time, and a lot of time. Number 2, and this puts me in mind actually of the incredible soul, Maya Angelou. She quoted, "When someone shows you who they are, believe them the first time." And that was a big nugget of wisdom that she bestowed upon Oprah Winfrey. Now I say, let someone show you who they are, because they will. If we step back a little from them and we witness over a period of time how they act and behave, they will show you who they are. The truth of who they are will be revealed. And there are many times within narcissistic relationships when the real truth of who the narcissist is comes to the surface. But unfortunately, we're already caught in the trap when these red flags start happening and they start revealing who they really are. And of course, it's shocking because it goes completely against the mask of the person that they presented to you at the beginning. Then you find out it's a very different story underneath the surface. So in the suggestion, I think we have to keep a level of distance between us and a new person. And we can observe them. And you don't have to do this in the vein of like surveillance or suspicion. I'm meaning to do it in more of a curiosity. In my own story, if you've seen the video, and I'm going to link it to you down below, when the narcissist I dealt with got this assistant, she kept herself at a distance and she observed with curiosity the situation and the narcissist. Now, even though the narcissist presented themselves very smiley and very happy and very fun, she witnessed on some occasions when negativity, rudeness and rage surfaced. And she came to me to ask me about it because it was weird to her, because they were so nice to her and yet she'd see something else. And I confirmed, well, yeah, that is who the narcissist is. Yes, they're degrading. Yes, they're rude. That's who they are. So going back to Maya Angelou, she said, when people show you who they are, believe them the first time. So when you see it once, you better believe that's who they are. But if you don't believe it and you stick around and you see it twice, okay, I understand. Sometimes we need that confirmation. I did. But we really don't have to stick around for a third time. Give people the space to allow them to show you who they are. It's better to see it at a distance. And when you see it, you can say, you know what? No thanks. I'm going to dodge that one. Number 3. What's really important to narcissists, as we know, is they're banking on people being naive and not knowing their tricks. They're banking on people trusting them and not having a wall of protection. What narcissists need is they need to gather information on you. And that's the way they get inside. That's the way they create a forced bond. That's how they're able to mirror you. They need you to provide them with material for that to happen though. So don't give them the material. It's important not to reveal everything about yourself. A lot of people are safe, but some people are really not safe. Now, Paramahansa Yogananda once said, don't reveal your weaknesses to others because they will use them against you. Now, even a friend and a family member that isn't a narcissist can do that. So just imagine what a narcissist will do with that kind of information. We need people to show us who they are before we decide to take it deeper with them in connection, which leads me actually nicely to number 4. Let someone earn your trust over time. Narcissists, they don't do time. They're not long distance runners. They're actually sprinters. They can have their eye on you. And if you don't give them what they want, they actually get bored quite quickly and move on to somebody else. I actually saw this frequently with the narcissists that I dealt with. They went through a lot of people. When they went all in with a new source of supply that they thought was going to help them in their career or status, they presented this lovely friend that was very attentive, very caring, that was prepared to do anything for them. But they only had the steam to do this for a short amount of time before they expected to receive a return on their investment. But when people don't give narcissists what they want, then the real face surfaces. The rage erupts and the individual gets cast aside. I would see this happening to people around the narcissist that I dealt with. And they would even phone me up and ask, what on earth just happened? And of course, I knew deep down they didn't get what they wanted from you. And you see, it's this immature toddler narcissist that throws a hissy fit when they don't get their own way. Also, narcissists, they get very angry when they use their energy on the wrong person. because their energy for them is very precious. So if they're giving it to somebody, it means that they really do want a return. Remember, if the narcissist perceives that they've invested their time and their precious energy and attention on you, then you must give them what they want. They see it very, very unfair if you don't. Now, this person that I saw the narcissist trying to con was actually a successful businesswoman. And she had revealed a lot of personal data to the narcissist that the narcissist really tried to use. But she was quite a selfish person and fairly narcissistic in her own life. She wasn't a narcissist. She was just self-absorbed. And she certainly wasn't going to fall prey to the narcissist because she had her own needs and she had her own agenda. And she thought, well, the narcissist can give me attention and energy because I'm on a higher level financially. But she didn't realize the terms of engagement that she was meant to cough up her dough. So for anybody, on the other hand, that's fallen prey to narcissistic abuse, they aren't like that woman. They're very honest, they're open-hearted, they're believing in goodness, trusting of others. And these are all virtues, but they're virtues to guard from narcissists, because narcissists can ruin these beautiful parts of ourselves. But when you know that you're a very open person, you're a giver, you're highly empathetic, we have to have a guard and we have to have filters. We have to allow people the time to earn our trust and to show us who they are. Personally speaking, I can say in friendships and all other parts of life apart from romantic relationships, I'm usually very intuitive with people. I can feel when someone is trustworthy and kind. So in these situations, I don't necessarily need to guard myself so much, but in romantic situations, I know that's been the issue for me. So in this case, I really step back now and I allow the time to develop my consideration for a person. Number 5, we have to keep our boundaries and our personal autonomy within any kind of relationship. Narcissists, like I've said in other videos, they want to take you away from yourself and your sense of center. People that are more self-centered usually have stronger boundaries. Have you noticed that pretty self-centered people or selfish people are able to say no quite easily when they don't want to do something? Now, when you're more sensitive and empathetic, we think more about pleasing others, or at least not upsetting anyone. We might want to say no, and yet we can feel like someone wants us to say yes so much, and we don't want to disappoint them. Well, that is what I call self-abandonment, because every time you say yes when you wanted to say no, it feels terrible inside because we've gone against ourselves. And if this is what you do a lot, i.e. you struggle to say no even if it goes against you, then this syndrome will usually be coming from childhood, where we've learnt to please other people and put their needs above our own, or we felt like we're responsible for their emotions. Now, if you have this and you also feel inherently undeserving and unworthy, and you come into contact with a narcissist, for them, they're going to react like a cat around catnip. You'll be irresistible. I'm not saying to become selfish, but we do need to root ourselves more firmly within our center and become a little bit more self-centered when necessary. Narcissists hate this. They hate anyone that has boundaries, that says no, that decides, actually, I prefer doing this rather than what you want me to do. Narcissists will be so annoyed because they realize that you're not going to be a good servant to them. And they may persist a while and keep on checking back. Are you going to serve me? Are you going to serve me? But if they keep getting the answer no, then they'll move on to some easier target. You're too much work. Boundaries, they help you to keep a healthy control of yourself also. And it stops them in their tracks. It prevents them entry. It creates a distance. And so what you have in these points, in all of these points, are the common themes of distance and time. Because distance and time allows us to know who we're dealing with. And remember, narcissists are not for the long distance. They like fast sprints to the finish line. And the prize in this context is getting hold of you. Now, it was brought up by a viewer here that narcissists, they don't respect boundaries. So what's the point of having boundaries? And it's true that narcissists don't respect boundaries in the same way that when a child wants a toy, they don't want to hear the word no from their parent. They're going to try everything to get over the hurdle in a variety of ways. They're going to try to manipulate their parents. The thing with a boundary is it needs to be enforced and reinforced and reinforced. We have to remain so centered and so strong in our will to maintain the boundaries that nothing anybody says or does can get through. And believe me, they will keep on trying and trying until they get bored. Then they're going to leave you alone. They're going to move on to somebody else. But we can't afford to drop our guard to them because they will usually return with different tactics. So we have to keep the boundaries always enforced. If you imagine your boundary like the wall of China or Hadrian's Wall, where it's separating you on one side and then other people on the other. Now imagine that there's enemy soldiers that are approaching this boundary, this wall, and they're going to try different parts of the boundary line to see where they can get through. What's the weakest part? Where is the chink in the armor? Where is the weakest link? And narcissists are like this. If they think that you are grade A supply, if they think that you are a great supply source and they want access to you and your energy, they will try it in multiple different ways. So we have to reinforce our boundaries really strong. Keep the wall tight. What I do want to get across is that if you have been in a pattern of narcissistic abuse, we absolutely need to add a little bit more attention to the people that we are allowing in. But that doesn't mean that we have to go around on guard and thinking that everyone is going to have it in for us. The idea is to catch yourself before you get sucked in. You have got the power here. And your intuition, if you connect to it, will guide you. Red flags will always be raised with narcissists, and you will notice them because your internal feeling will make you aware, and your consciousness will know that it's a red flag. That's why many people say after narcissistically abusive relationships, there were so many red flags, but I ignored them. Or you'll hear them say, I knew instinctively that they were bad, but I didn't listen to myself. You're not going to get these flags that go off and that uneasy feeling that you feel in your gut around trustworthy and safe people. We know that narcissists, they rush people because they don't want to give you the time to think. They ambush you when you're not expecting it. So as a survivor of narcissistic abuse, now that you know they're out there, and yet they aren't the majority, but they do exist, it's best for you to apply extra caution to where you're stepping. We aren't hypervigilant, but we pay attention. So I really hope that these points have been helpful to you today. Please help me out by liking the video and even sharing with somebody that you think that it might help. And to everybody subscribed and supporting me wherever you are with your likes, your shares, your comments, and your generous donations. Thank you so much for your help. Thank you so much for watching. Take care, and I'll see you again next time.